Yeah, I'd like to call the meeting of the Public Board of Trustees to order.
Do you need us to tap something?
And Donna, I'd like to tell you that I am recording
And
the meeting.
you started it.
And who gets the bills?
Susan is the third person.
Susan, the third person.
It's okay, it's one of those days. All right, the bills are being signed. And the next order of business is Greg. You're up.
Hello, nice to see you again.
Nice to see you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Greg Tronovitz. I've been working with Loretta and a small group of interested parties on the planning process for the library. I wanted to just give you 2 seconds on my background. I've worked in libraries for over 40 years. Over the past 25 years, I've worked in Massachusetts at a couple of different not-for-profits that help libraries. Like the library delivery between libraries, that was the not-for-profit that I worked for. Online newspapers and magazines, that was the not-for-profit I worked for. And we trained librarians, but we also helped them with strategic planning. I've worked on strategic planning in many libraries on the North Shore and some in the rest of the state, including this one in the past. I've facilitated strategic planning meetings downstairs in your big room. So tonight we're going to be doing what we call a SOAR analysis. SOAR stands for strengths, opportunities, aspirations, and results. Has anyone ever done a SOAR analysis in the past?
Can you tell me the acronym again? S for strength, what was it? Sorry.
Strengths, opportunities,
Opportunities.
aspirations,
Mhm.
and results. So strengths are things that we do well here at the library or in town. Everything's in the context of the community. And I'm going to be asking each of you to tell me strengths at the library. And then I'm going to ask you all to tell me opportunities that the library has. And an opportunity can be a grant that might be available to libraries in this part of the state. Or it could be a way to overcome an obstacle. It's theoretically a positive way to look at challenges too, that opportunities can help you overcome challenges. Aspirations are, it's time to dream. You know, what would you like to achieve? Perhaps adding another 2 staff members so that the library can be open more hours. Something like that. And the results are that the library is open more hours and new services are available and more people come to the library and use it. So these are examples of the SOAR, strengths, opportunities, aspirations, and results. And Loretta said I could take about an hour to do this, and she's agreed to be the timekeeper and also the note taker. Thank you, Loretta.
My pleasure.
And that's really helpful for me. I wanted to let you know that I have hearing loss. I have no hearing on this side and not so great hearing on this side. So I may look and say, please repeat that. So please be aware of that. So what I'd like to do is to ask if anyone has any questions about the SOAR analysis. Okay. So before we start that, I always like to ask SOAR analysis participants what excites them about the planning process for the library. So if you could just quickly introduce yourself and tell me one thing that you're excited about the planning process. And Stephanie, would you mind if I go clockwise from you?
I'm Stephanie, I'm the recording secretary.
Okay,
And I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
She needs to write it down.
you got half of it already, who you are. The second is, what excites you about the planning process? What would you like to achieve in the strategic planning process for the library?
I would just like to see maybe, more programs added, and I think that, having everyone's opinion might help in that process.
Mhm.
And what, the public would want to see come to the library and what, they might want to attend for events. Yeah, but I think we do, a pretty good job at that, but, there's always room for improvement.
Mhm. Well, very good, thank you.
You're welcome.
Kyle,
Yes, I'm Kyle, I'm just a community member.
okay,
I think it'd be great to hear what some of the. Actually, I'd love to get clarity on what the library is really looking for. And so actually it's having and hearing folks discuss those different aspects of the SOAR exercise, and eventually as that kind of comes together into an actual strategic plan. I think it's great to really have that unified vision to have everyone on board. That's what we're looking for.
very good, thank you.
I'm Donna Banbury, I'm one of the trustees, and I would really like to see more employees.
More employees,
So that we can cover what we need to cover and maybe have some more hours.
thank you. Maria, I forgot your last name.
That's
sorry.
okay. Maria Keikos Alexis. I too am a trustee. And I would like to see, Stephanie kind of covered a couple of things that I was thinking too. More programs, and more importantly, to see in what the public are looking for by way of the survey that you're going to be doing. Because I think it's very important for the public to be involved. It's one thing for us to have these discussions on a monthly basis and try to think of things, but it's really important that the public comes into that and tells us what they want.
Mhm, good, well, thank you. Allison,
I'm Allison Sloan. I have worked in libraries,
Mhm.
maybe not quite as long as you have, right? I am learning about a small town library versus the bigger picture libraries that I've worked with. And trying to adjust what we can offer, and I can see that staff is an important addition, and hours, I see all of that. I guess one of my priorities for the future of this library, well, that might be aspirations, maybe I'm jumping ahead of my aspirations.
please jump ahead.
I feel it would be really helpful to have a reference or an information librarian. We're kind of missing that department in this building.
Thank you. Susan,
I'm Susan Bacoli, and I'm one of the trustees of the library. I would like in the library to continue to be a welcoming and warm place for members of the community, for all members of the community. I would like to see more programs, and I understand more programs require more staff. And I'd like to see a lot more town participation with some of the programs that are offered.
very good, thank you. Justin,
Hi there, Justin Salzback, town administrator. Like any other meeting, I'm here in a support capacity. And my opinion isn't oftentimes asked, in this regard anyway. So I am happy to offer that as part of this process. I'm excited, to see the opportunity to distill the thoughts of those in this room, to come to, one cohesive or several, cohesive goals, in terms of direction for the library. I think it's exciting to see that kind of rolled out as part of this larger process. Planning the future of the library regarding staffing and planning and those other items. So I'm most excited to watch.
thank you. Annie,
I'm Annie Bolton, and I'm the president of the Friends of the Sword, and my aspiration and hope for the library is more money. From everybody.
Okay.
Um,
And we haven't met yet. I'm Greg.
Erin Bennett, nice to.
Erin
Bennett.
Bennett, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So I've asked people to introduce themselves and tell us one thing that you'd like to see come out of the strategic planning process. I'm the strategic planning
Yes.
consultant, okay?
I agree with Susan. I'd like to see, I mean, the library's doing wonderful things, so I'd like to just keep that going. And I would like more awareness of all the wonderful things the library has to offer. I feel like there's a lot of people that don't really know about all of that, like the programming, the museum passes or other things like that, like what a great resource the library is. So I just want more people because I feel like the people who use it, they love it, they enjoy it. And I just want more people, more engagement. So, because I think we have wonderful programming and
Okay, thank you. Loretta, you're last.
Thank you. No pressure. So my name is Loretta. I'm the director here at the library. I am excited about this process to really hear from the public, and see what it is we're doing well, where we can improve, and really hopefully reach more people. And those that aren't using the library, hopefully they find a lot of reasons to come to their library. But also those that are already using their library, hopefully they'll learn a little bit more that maybe they didn't know we offer. So very excited for this one. So thank you, Greg.
Thank you very much. So what I'm gonna do is to ask Erin, we're talking about strengths, opportunities, aspirations, and what results we want to see for the library and community. That's the exercise we're doing today. It's called a SOAR analysis. So what I'm going to do now is to ask Loretta to set the timer for 10 minutes, and we'll talk about strengths. And what I'd like to do is to start with Susan, and we'll go counterclockwise this time, and ask everybody to just tell us briefly about a strength of the library. We don't have time for lengthy discussions about everything. We have a limited time, but we want to get as many of your ideas about the strengths and opportunities onto the list here that we can consider and pump into the planning process. Would you mind going first, Susan?
What are the strengths of the library?
Yeah.
I think the strengths are the staff.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're very positive. They go the extra mile. I'm coming from a fact that my son came here when he was 2 years and 9 months, only spoke Spanish, and he was welcomed, and it was the first place that we went. And Loretta was a page at the time, and she would make sure that he had books as time progressed that he was following, which would be like Scooby-Doo or some of the other things, and she would keep a track of what he had read. He was always welcomed. I find that they are welcoming for some of the community members that might not be accepted in a lot of areas. And I find that this library is very welcoming to all, and that is really important to me because I have members of the LGBTQ community, and they need a safe place and a welcoming and accepting place, and I find that this place meets that. So that's where I see the strength is.
It's a great strength. Thank you. Allison, tell us about a strength of the library.
So I'm gonna go in a different direction with this than I think anyone else is gonna talk about, is the location of the library. Because I think it's very wonderful that this building is right here on the main street with the beautiful sign out front, announcing what we have, beautiful lawn, which becomes a part of what the town, events have, and that it's a building with character and history, I just think it's, a place that has been respected and loved in this town, and that shows.
Great, thank you. Maria,
Well, Allison stole my thunder, because I was thinking no one was gonna talk about the building, and I would have that one as something different. So, thank you, Allison. But I might also, because of the architecture of the building, I mean, it's just such a beautiful building. It's not just, as Allison said, it is central location. So it really drives people. It's like when you go to a restaurant that has the ambiance. I think it's what Susan said, the staff, the books, we all know it's a library, it's books, but it's the whole ambiance of the place that really draws you in.
very good, thank you. Donna,
I could just say ditto.
You can say ditto, my
No,
friend. We're on the same page most times.
our biggest strength is our friends organization. I'm sorry, I'm not speaking loud enough.
thank
Our
you very
friends-
much.
Our friends organization is the biggest strength in this library. They come up with more money for programs and are the most supportive group of people. The other strength is the children's librarians. They were very good about bringing my little granddaughter out of her shyness. And she had become very, very social and easy going with other people, which wouldn't have happened if it hadn't been for those librarians downstairs.
Very good, thank you. Erin, what do you think a strength of the library is?
I'll piggyback off of Donna. I think the Friends is just wonderful. You know, they pay for all of the programming and we have wonderful programming. There's something for everyone, I feel like. And if you have a suggestion, you tell someone at the library, they will make it happen. I also feel like our staff, as well, when I first moved here, I just, going back to Claudia, the days of Claudia, I mean, she would just look at me and say, "This is the book you'd like to read," and she never was wrong. And, you know, I remember when my son was born, she was like, "How's Richard doing?" Like, "He's 2 weeks old." That's like the first place I came to. But the staff always goes above and beyond. They will, you know, I've tried to look for books that are really like hard, or I couldn't find like different books for one of my sons for educational, and they found them for me. I've had friends say, you know, my son doesn't like to read this or that, and they will help them, you know, guide them to the right books. And I just feel like it's a very welcoming place. And like Susan said, I feel like it's the most diverse, welcoming place in town. And I just really, the staff goes above and beyond, so.
Thank
that's-
you. Stephanie, have you had a chance to think of another strength?
It might be a little redundant, but I'm not actually from Middleton, so compared to where I live in Pelham, New Hampshire. And just to kind of see what they do compared to here, you know, I commend the library and their programming and you know, just all, even being in the community, you don't see that as often at other places, so I commend the town and the library for doing all these programs. I think it's very nice and brings the community all together.
Great, thank you. So I'm gonna go around again and see if any of the board members have another strength to add. Feel free to pass or just briefly say something. Then we'll open it up to the other folks in the room and then we'll move on to opportunities. Any other strengths?
Well, I can just say, I am a self-published author and wanted to do a program in combination with the Middleton Stream Team. And people here have bent over backwards to see that I have the appropriate room and have worked so that I can share my information, but also in combination with the library, offer a Sunday program, which I think they go the extra mile, and that's, I know I said that the staff is wonderful, but I have to say it again, because they go the extra mile and they didn't have to really.
Very good, thank you. Allison, have you thought of another strength?
Well, just generally, and it's not that I don't agree with everybody, of course. I find that working with Loretta on policies has been a wonderful opportunity for me, and it's also opened up the way this town thinks. So I think I think our guidelines and our policies and how, you know, Loretta has really committed to that process for this community. I think knowing when you enter a place, feeling safe and secure is based on knowing where you stand and, you know, I think that's been very, very important.
Nice, thank you. Maria, another strength, another
Um,
one.
As a mom, my son started off helping, be kind of, Susan said, from when Loretta was here for many years. Right from the beginning, starting in the children's room, and to watch a child start in the children's room, then go up to the next level, was very comforting. And I think that is a big part of the community, and having that, just like when you see a child go from, you know, elementary to middle school to high school in the different stages.
Thank you. Donna, have you thought of another strength?
Yeah, I think Loretta is one of the best, most wonderful strength things in this library. I mean, she's lived here, she knows the community, she understands the community, she works very, very hard, she's dedicated to her staff. She's very supportive, and I think she's probably one of the biggest strengths here.
Thank you. Have you thought of another one, Erin?
Got a couple. I think too, being a small town library, we do, to your point, we do things. I mean, we, like, a little example is the Lucky Shelf. Like, we, just to have that, I've seen that in bigger libraries where, you know, they have multiple copies. It's just, that's so cool that we have that. And then also just the programming. I mean, compared to other libraries that have the population this town has in the staff, our programming is like blows any other town on the line, like to go use that, but even in the tri-town or even, I mean, our programming is just really, really wonderful. There's truly something for everyone, I think, in my opinion. And like I said, if there's not, the feedback, and I think that's also, like Susan said, people are very welcoming, staff is very welcoming to feedback on what they'd like to see. And also, I think it's a town meeting place. This is where so many committees meet here. So I feel like this kind of is the center, quite literally the center of town, but also, you know, people come here for all kinds of different meetings. And I think that it's just kind of wonderful because it gets people in the building, it gets people to know the staff. You know, and I just think that it's just wonderful in so many ways.
Very good, thank you. Stephanie, have
I'm
you?
gonna pass.
That's fine, okay. I'm gonna just go around the room one time and then,
Right on time for you to ask, just, you're at 10 minutes right now.
so let's ask everybody quickly, and Loretta, you get the final word on strengths. Kyle, do you have a strength you'd like to mention that hasn't been talked about yet?
I want to just reinforce what Aaron said. I think this is one of the very few places in town that people can actually come together, that's open to the public, that people can meet, even if it's not for a program or for a committee meeting. This is a place where people can come and feel welcome and catch up with one another or see what's going on.
Mhm.
And I think there's very few places in town where you can do that unless you're busy paying someone for, you know, a meal or.
Thank you. Justin, have you thought of a strength for the library or its relationship with the community?
Yeah, so, you know, I don't say all the good ones, taken, but, you know, we've checked off a lot of the usual suspects there. One I would add though, just from what I've seen in my limited experience here, so far 7 months, which has flown by, is the support of the community. It seems to be a very well supported library.
Mhm.
By citizens, not just the folks in this room, but the town at large. People really love this library, and, you know, having that kind of support is pretty special.
Very good, thank you. And have you thought of a strength that hasn't been mentioned yet?
I have,
Or
I think one
add
of the, I think one of the great strengths of this library is our adaptability. When crises happen, when, I've seen an example of COVID. And, you know, nobody could come here but still people were able to order online, they explained how to do it. And then they made it available to pick up outside the door, you know, safely. And just everyday things that happen, that sort of crisis management, I'm amazed how adaptable Loretta and the staff is when, you know, the septic plugs up and you have to move someone somewhere, or there's no heat in the meeting room and they make it so that it's workable to go there. So I would say adaptability.
Very good, thank you.
And could I just add on to what Amy said, because I forgot all about COVID, but when COVID happened, I mean, we were coming here all the time, and then it was just really hard, you know, school shut down, library shut down, and it was so wonderful to be able to email the children's librarians, and because they knew myself and my children, it was like they would just pick out, I'd say, you know, kind of what Richard and Drew like, and they would just be able to pick out, and then they would write handwritten notes to my son and like print out pictures and just write like, we miss you, and just, you know, I was able to pick those up. And then I remember one time too, I said, I miss the library too. And I said, I'm, you know, reading books digitally, but like I missed the book, but I can use, and they picked out like a couple books for me. Just, I didn't even say I was looking for books. It was just saying like, I missed too. And it's like, oh, here's a couple that you might like, and it introduced me to new authors. And I just think that that was really wonderful. You know, and I exchanged pictures back and forth through email of, you know, my kids smiling with the books, and it was just, you know, that's when Miss Jessica was here and Miss Felicia, and it was just really wonderful that my kids were like, hey, we still get a piece of the Flint, you know, and the take and make kits and stuff was really, really wonderful.
Thank you. Loretta, you got the last word. Do you have anything to add?
Nothing to add, but I will second everything that's said here, that, you know, I can gush about the library for days. Anyone that knows me knows that to be true. But I think it's really the people, the staff, the community that make this library so great. So again, I'm really looking forward to hearing from the public so that we as librarians can better serve.
Very good, thank you. So our next topic is opportunities. I'd like to ask everyone to mention an opportunity that the library or community has in this. And Donna, can we start with you and go clockwise? Would you mind?
Yeah, I'm gonna pass, because my mind hasn't wrapped itself around an opportunity, sorry.
Oh, sure.
When you
Thank
say,
you.
I'm sorry, so when you say opportunity, just for clarity, you're saying what opportunities we have to do something more, or what opportunities there currently exist
What opportunities are in front of us
in front of us?
that we can take advantage of that will make the library or community a better place, make the library more useful, or to help patrons in the library, to help the staff in the library, anything that would be something that would be beneficial. And that also includes overcoming challenges. So does that make sense?
Sure, I feel like we've kind of covered a lot of that, and in the fact of a lot of people said about, you know, with the survey, finding out what people's wants, desires, and needs are for the library. I think that is really what's gonna open up a lot of this from hearing from, I hope we hear from a lot of people telling us that. And I think that will show us what the opportunities are. Because I really think it's important, as I said before, about the public.
To hear
Being
from the
engaged.
community.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great, thank you. Allison,
I'm kind of leapfrogging on that with the fact that we're an elected board, which is not the case in every town. And when we are running, people keep coming to us and saying, oh, I want your platform, or this is what I want you to do. And one of the big things that they wanted was programming. So that is something that I definitely see as an open opportunity to expand our programming, and I'm a big.
excuse me, 10 minutes, we're timing it, sorry.
Oh,
I forgot to.
I can
start
talk
the
for 10
clock.
minutes, no problem. But no, I think that this board and Loretta understand that I'm really following teens and tweens because I feel that they're in general in towns all over in life, a neglected age group. They have so much to offer us and contribute, and they're real thinkers. And it's yet a very difficult task to excite them and get them involved in what we're doing. And I think teen and tween programming, I think, is an opportunity that is so wide open to us that I would like to see us pursue that.
Thank you, great. Susan, have you thought of an opportunity?
Well, I don't know how you get grants and things like that. But money is always an issue. And is there a way, and I don't know, I don't even know if people are applying for them or are there things, but is there a way that we could get more grants? Because, you know, everybody is watching their budget, you know, everybody knows that they're gonna be building the town center, you know, with the fire, police in town hall and the senior center, so everybody's watching their taxes, so that if we could get more money somewhere besides from our taxpayers, maybe that would be something, and I don't know how much we are already doing, I really don't know, so.
Great opportunity, thank you.
Well, Loretta has, I will say about the grants, Loretta has submitted some things for grant, as you know, from the cultural council, but there are other opportunities and we haven't fully grabbed onto those, I think, or
I mean, the
Look
cultural
forward.
council,
is a small pool.
they only have like, I
Right.
think like they only had $6,000 this, I mean, it was a very small amount.
Correct.
So, and as everybody knows, if you have programs come in, people charge for the programs, and sometimes they're not shy about it.
Good point, thank you. Stephanie, have you thought of an opportunity?
Maybe just in technology, you know, just in upgrading to technology in whatever realm that may be in the librarian world. But, you know, that also,
There's always something.
yes, I mean,
Technology.
it does require money and, you know.
Could I raise a question, and that is maybe have a program for seniors, like. I'm dealing with my sister-in-law who doesn't know how to use her phone. And a computer is even higher up on the, doesn't know, so that's a wonderful.
Very good, thank you. Erin, have you thought of an opportunity?
Sure, I think some opportunities are, and I know staff would be an issue to have more staff, but maybe more outreach programs. Like I would love to see the senior center and the library come together. Like I would love a story time at the senior center with, you know, the little kids, or have the seniors come in here. And because I just think little kids make everybody happy. And I just think that, but obviously, you know, that's like a stopping, you know, but just maybe more, you know, more outreach that way, or be able to go into the school, collaborate with the schools more. You know, if the teachers are like working on a certain the American Revolution, I think they're working on right now, so maybe have a library program that's kind of like, here's what, how many, you know, 3 through 6 are working on. I know they do that in the summer, but maybe just something like that. And I would love to see too, like a teen space here. I know that they don't have like a dedicated space, so I would love, what else? Gotta build it out, but I would love a dedicated like teen space.
Excellent, thank you. Donna, have you thought of an opportunity? Not yet.
I'm sorry.
And if I can just say the outreach way, I know you were doing the Gregory Street. And you know, that's they're troubled DYS kids, but that's part of Middleton. And we also have the jail, you know, and you know, again, staffing becomes key to a lot of dreams.
Right, well, our planning process is, we're just trying to get a feel for what the community wants. And these ideas are very valuable, and everybody's looking forward to seeing the survey too. So let me ask the rest of the board members if there are other opportunities they'd like to mention right now, and before we move on to the other community members. Other opportunities that you'd like to? Great. Justin, opportunities, have you thought of one?
I have, so it's very well used building by a lot of the community because there isn't a ton of space to use otherwise. And then coming down the road with the new municipal complex, that's going to bring some new meeting space online that the community can use, which will hopefully free up a little space and give everybody a little breathing room here. So I'd say in the next couple of years, opportunities for expanded programming or use of that space, however you see fit, be something worth planning for.
Great, thank you. Annie, have you thought of an opportunity?
Parking,
Okay,
more parking would be great.
very good. Kyle, have you thought of an opportunity?
I'm trying to frame it instead of just being a challenge in terms of like the expanded hours and things like that, so
Mhm.
I know. There are times where I think, oh, I'd love to go to the library, of course, it's not a time when the library is open, that's
Yeah.
later, earlier. Saturday, Sunday morning, whatever it happens to be, it's like it never quite fits into the schedule, so. You know, great coverage throughout the week, that tends to be the weeks where all 5 days during the week I'm busy, so. It falls on, I have 4 hours on Sunday afternoon to get to the library, I'm going to do that.
Good point.
But finding ways to make it available at other times, which is a challenge thing.
Very good. Well, we're not, we're talking about opportunities, not challenges. So thank you for that. Yes,
I finally have
good.
the opportunity of getting our hands on the fire station. When it's, you know, and being able to use that as a teen center or more parking or whatever. That I see is a big one.
Good point. Thank you.
Mhm.
Loretta, last word on opportunities.
I think these are great. These are great points. You know, we're doing a lot of great things here, and it sounds like what we're looking for is really just kind of increase what we're already doing. So, a lot of good feedback.
Very good. So the next two topics are aspirations. And aspirations are, as you would think, it's time to dream. What's our dream for the library? What do we want to see? How can the library be? Let's imagine what the ideal place is. And the topic after that are results of, you know, what happens if we build on our strengths, take advantage of opportunities, and strive to reach our aspirations. We end up with stronger community support, more users in the library, programs for people who didn't have programs before. And these two ideas often get mixed up, aspirations and results, because they're just talking about a really nice future. So don't worry which one you're addressing. Just tell us what you'd like to see in the future. And Loretta and I will divide them into A and R later, okay? So we'll maybe take 15 minutes for this one, because it's really 2 in 1.
I
And
have aspirations.
Yeah.
I would like more more author talks.
mhm,
And again, I know those sometimes are very difficult because the bigger the author, the bigger you have to pay more money, but I'd love to see more author talks.
it's time to dream, more author talks, yes, okay. So Allison, would you mind if we go counterclockwise this time and
I
pick
would
on
like
you
you
next?
to. That would be great. Do I have to go next, huh?
Yes.
Okay. I guess my dreams and aspirations are based on my expanded library experience before I became a trustee. I would like to see, I can support Loretta in more staff. And I think that's a good aspiration. I'd like to be a reference librarian staff or an information department.
Mhm.
I would like to see, just extra hands. so we can stay open. I mean, there've been too many times when Loretta's had to close because she didn't have coverage.
That hasn't happened.
Yeah.
It happened one Sunday, I think, one Sunday last year. Yeah. Anyway,
Those are great aspirations.
I think that's a big aspiration, and I really have an aspiration for this library to. Much as it's beloved, much as it's a service-oriented environment, that's what libraries are by nature. Here we have books, please take them, you know. I would like to see more. The public comes in, but I would like to see more almost embracing of strangers. I can't explain it. It's really fabulous if you've got friends who come in and you see them all the time and you know them and you know their kids and, you know, oh yeah, she's a mystery reader. I remember her. Oh, she's my sci-fi patron. But I just feel that there could be a little more outreach to people who don't know the building. I don't see this building, contrary to some of my co-trustees, as welcoming. I feel when you walk into that library, it's not actually a welcoming entryway. And I'd like to see that entryway be more, hey, come on in, we've got stuff for you, and have a greeter or have the children's room be more open so that those staff people can welcome people. Not in the sense of a welcoming building, of course, a library is a welcoming building, but just more attitude outreach kind of.
Great point. So, looking at those aspirations, what would the results be of a more welcoming library? What would happen?
What do I envision happening?
Yeah.
Absolutely more people coming in and getting the teens. I think Erin knows that I've talked with her specifically about her idea about a teen space, and tweens and teens are my priority as well. I think we would get the teens in here. I would really like to see that. I would also like to see wanderers. You know, I think people come in here kind of almost knowing what they want and they go and they get it, but I'd like to see a space where people just kind of come in and stroll.
Okay. Well, thank you. Maria,
I think two things, the one that Alison brought up, because it's always just the way the building is set up, people don't come from the 114 side, which is the beautiful entrance, and come through the back, like the basement almost. And it's not welcoming at all, Don, it's just the design of it, just the way it happened. I'd like to see that change. If you said an aspiration, just a build out differently. I mean, people come in, they're like, where do I go? How do I, it's not very welcoming. I would love to see that change. And also, Stephanie brought up technology. I mean, I think though it's a beautiful aesthetically in the ambience of all of that, we've talked about it before, having an electronic board and when you enter instead of the whiteboard with the marker and stuff, something to bring us more into the 21st century of technology to draw people into, I think would help. And maybe we can get to that this year, Loretta, with some grant money, we'll try.
thank you very much.
Mhm.
Donna, have you thought of an aspiration and or result?
Well, I agree with the technology issue. I think it's really, really important in this. We really saw that when all the computers crashed in the whole town and realized how we were limping along on everything. I'd also like to see, I know this hasn't been brought up, I know we talk about having more staff, but we're always talking about having a specific, like a reference library or more help with the circulation or whatever, but I think there also needs to be administrative help in this library. I think both Loretta and Michelle spend more time dealing with, typing and doing things that an administrative person could help, and their skills would be much better used otherwise. So that.
Thank you very much. Erin, have you thought about aspirations or results that you'd like to see?
Can you come back to me?
I'm sorry?
Can you come back to me?
Of course, yeah. Allowed to pass. Stephanie, what do you think?
I don't know if it's an aspiration, but maybe, I don't know if the library has ever, I mean, it's always open to the public, but have you ever, like, people that are new to the community, have you ever done like an open house where there's, you've literally set up an open house and maybe do a tour, so they're, new to the community, they get to use the facilities and get to know, what we offer or whatnot.
That's in line with my feeling.
Yeah.
It's just welcoming into. come
Especially
on
if they're
in.
new, they might not know, be like, oh, no,
Even
if I could just walk in, or get a library card, maybe you designate, maybe once a month or twice a month, or, some kind of time where anyone new to the community can come in. But, just have a set time for them to come to take a tour.
Even not new. I mean,
Yeah, not even just someone, that
I
has
always
never
look
been
at
here.
The tech, Essex Aggie down the road, and once a year they have an open house.
Hmm.
That's a great idea, even just an open house.
Yeah.
An annual open house on a particular day or whatever that works, but just a couple of hours
Yeah.
just to say, we're open for you to come.
Yeah.
Wander, as Allison
Yeah.
said. I
Meet
think-
our staff.
Well, Stephanie, you've been really good, you're really good. You have all these
Oh,
great
yeah.
ideas as an outsider too, from another town. It's really good to have a different perspective when you're not living here.
Well, why don't we open it up again to everyone, to say something new about an aspiration or a result? Or maybe to build on an aspiration that somebody else mentioned, like what the technology issue is, it's big in every industry, in every library. What would the results be of addressing technology successfully? And that's not the only, any other thoughts you have, but that's just an example of.
Well, I'm gonna build on what Stephanie just said, and suggest trainings for our community, for our patrons in, what did you say earlier? Or, I'm sorry,
It was
Susan, it was you. See, tell
How to use a phone, how to
right,
use.
how to use a phone, how to use a
Yeah.
computer, how to borrow a book electronically, how to register for a library card electronically. I'm a huge Libby fan and a huge audio fan, so I think even before I left my library position in Reading, I went up to the reference and said, okay, let's get my phone set up to link with my car. So I mean, even as much training as I had, there are still some important, and I think an open house idea would just blossom with that kind of offering, like stop at my table and learn how to download a book on Libby,
Good. Any other thoughts? Erin, have you thought of one? It's still okay to pass?
No, I think, I don't know if this is like what aspiration is, again, like working with the schools, like I love that we do. The kindergartners come in and get the library card, and that's a field trip that is just adorable and awesome, and I think it's just like. Most people, like Donna said, you kind of start here when your kids are really little and go to the play groups and stuff, but not everyone can go to that, so I think it's wonderful, like just building like lifelong, readers, like as Maria said, from downstairs to upstairs, and just maybe. Making those teens and tweens not want to forget about that, forget about the library, so just make it. And, you can do that with a partnership with the school, or just, just maybe more so that, yeah, everyone grows up to love and know the library, So if your child takes the field trip here, I think that's probably been so helpful. They get their library card and then they want to come back. I mean, Loretta said that there were children that were like, I got my library card, I want to come back, and I just think that that's just working on building the lifelong readers and patrons, and which I think they're doing a wonderful job, but again, just, maybe kindergarten and like touch base when they go to Hal Manning or something, just maybe more of integrating with the schools more.
Integrating with the schools. There you go. Thank you.
I think that's a good idea, like even if you found, like if they're studying the Civil War or they're studying the Revolutionary War, you can have a section. Set up so that they could come in and get a book related to that, I mean, that would be.
And I know some teachers do, like one of the teachers that I work with, she'll come in here and get like all books for the spring or St. Patrick's Day, or, and I do that for our class too, but just. I feel like sometimes I say to students, I don't have time to go over the Flint. I'm like, send them an email. Send, Stacy an email and she'll happily help you compile it. All you have to do is send her an email, have a quick conversation with her, and she will have, 10, 20 books for you to take out. So I just think maybe more, like education about that, because they'll be like, really? It's like, yeah, just try and give her an email, so.
And even reaching the high school kids somehow, like filling out college, whatever they do now, which is totally foreign, but even are filling out a job application, some programs like that might catch the young kids that are 15, 16 that are looking for jobs and.
Yes, or like the resume prep that I think we were offering for a while, and I got so much feedback that was so wonderful, so yeah.
Or a health fair. Those are very popular.
The shine, like that, the social security, that help?
No, just like a wellness fair, a nutrition person and an exercise person and a foot person and a hand person.
Great. Last call, and then we're gonna go to the other community members. Another aspirational result we'd like to throw in the hopper for us to consider for the strategic plan.
I think that, again, I think it was Erin who started talking about the council, I'm gonna say the council on aging, I know she said council on aging particularly, but I think that, we have the shuttle, I'm not familiar, we do have a shuttle bus that is used to take them to Market Basket and places like that, but I think it'd be great to bring them into a program, maybe with children, as Erin mentioned, I think that's, you mentioned. And we have that shuttle bus, bring them here, make that an event, so to speak, and engage with children. And a resident had an idea about last year, they talked about like pen pals, with the children. And I think that would be great. And then they come and meet them and they become pen pals and maybe share some stories of their lives to these young children, maybe don't have grandparents locally or no longer have those grandparents.
Thank you.
Can I think of another idea? I know.
That's what happens when you keep.
But I think it was the Boston Library or something, they did like, I think it was called maybe like check out a human. Or check
Yes,
out, and I
right.
thought that was so
Check out a human.
wonderful. Yes, so it was like, it was just the most wonderful idea, and I feel like it's always like conversation, not confrontation. No, just you check out, like you go and you can meet with a person.
Well, maybe you need someone who, you're learning French, you just want to meet a person to talk French with.
Right,
Like
or
that.
a person from a different culture, or.
You want to cook a recipe, you want someone.
Or a policeman or a fire.
Yeah.
Right, so it's just,
Isn't
you
that
get,
fun?
you
I never
get
heard
like
that.
15 or 30, I don't know if that, I think that was actually the name of it. I think. Check out a human, check out a person or something, I don't know if you remember the name of it, but it was a really cool program, and I thought you can schedule like these 15 to 30-minute walks. It was right before COVID, so I was like, I'm so gonna do that,
You'll have
but
to
they
find
had,
out.
it was very cool, and I thought that would be so wonderful at the Flint, and just wonderful anywhere, but just to, have a conversation with someone about something that you don't know about, or you're interested in, or just, so anyway.
I have
Thank you.
one more I'd like to contribute, and it's probably not even gonna be possible until after the strategic plan is finished, because it's in the future. But I would like the library to partner not just with the senior center and the schools and all, but with the new town center, with Justin's office and the police and the fire. And how can the library ease the transition? I mean, what services can we offer to ease that transition, whether it be meeting space or trainings or delivering books to you on organizing your desk in a new location? I mean, I just think that that's such a huge piece of the town, and the library is just about the only building, am I correct, that isn't moving?
Yeah,
Yeah, we're the only one that's actually staying where we are, and I think that somehow we can lend that. Well, light department staying, there you go, so just need to talk to our library director, she might.
should have a finger on the pulse.
But I just think that that's a real aspirational thing, that I'm not sure you can even measure the results.
Yeah,
and it's a future thing, but
That's aspiration.
it's very
it's an
aspirational.
aspiration.
That's an
Perfect.
aspiration.
Well, why don't I go around and ask the other folks in the room, starting with Annie, if you have an aspiration or result that you'd like to see.
I do. I think it would be really great if we could grow the financial assets that we have. And also seek out new. Financial assets, so that if we do get in a downturn, we don't have to. Pull back on our ability to do all the things we wanna do. And that we can grow that so that. The taxpayer, the tax base is really paying for the maintenance of the building, the maintenance of the landscape, and the running of the library. And all the other things can come from assets that we've grown that
Very good.
would enable us to have more adaptability in that. If things go down or up.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Kyle, have you thought of an aspiration or a result you'd like to see?
Yeah, so something that just came to mind as Annie was speaking is, you know, I'm not sure what we have in terms of like corporate gifts and things like that. Something that I think in a lot is corporate matching for my own contributions, but it would be great to actually have some of the local businesses try and tie in or and so not ads all over everything, but be nice to be able to have them help offset some of the costs for the building, for the collections, or the programs. Instead of having to really, you know, I appreciate the friends of the Lynch, but it's always nice to have additional sources. of income.
Yeah.
Sure, great.
I was gonna say, the other thing, just kind of carrying up my original comment around strengths is, you know, I've had a few good conversations with various community groups here, but I find a lot happening in other towns as well. So like Tri-Town Council does things here occasionally, but I feel like there's a lot of other locations that they do things with different kinds of topics and other groups there trying to bring together community members, not for a specific. You consider it a program, but it's one where I think it's more about conversation, bringing people together. And so there's been several really great ones that I've gone to in the last few months, like Topsfield. And I see some things happening in Beverly as well, where it's been really great to go in and again, nobody that I know, and it's interesting conversations and meeting new people and having kind of discussion that you probably wouldn't otherwise have with strangers. And so, yes, with strangers. So it was interesting just meeting other people from the tri-town. It's like, oh, okay, you know, we have a lot of similarities with what happened in Topsfield a few months ago. It's like, okay, like meeting other members of the community and other folks who's bringing that together and really, you know, I said this is a place where people really gonna try and meet and come together, but I think there's still a lot of dysfunction in towns. There's a lot of opportunity there to have this be part of the solution.
Very good, thank you. Justin, you have any aspirations or results you'd like to see?
Yes, so one strength that came up that I was very excited about was this building. And I think one, on the other side of things, aspirational side of things is finding ways to continue caring for this building and planning for the life of this building, the maintenance of this building. So taking a hard look at capital needs over the next 5, 10, or 15 years so that you can get ahead of and plan for those things instead of waiting for them to show up.
Very
Like you
good.
and I had a conversation
Oh.
earlier today.
Thank you. Loretta, last word for the last topic.
So if I'm dreaming big for the library, it's, you know, we have all the staff that we need, we have all the financial support that we need, whether it's, you know, from these investment sources or from the friends, because they're just seeing, they're seeing Uber donations coming in, you know, corporate sponsors, everything. And that will really help us to increase our outreach in the community. We can get into those schools, elementary schools, middle school, Masco, the tech. And really spread the library outside the building. And get into the community. I've said that since day one, but it takes resources to do that. So that's my dream.
That's a great dream. Thank you. Well, I think that brings the SOAR analysis to a close. So Loretta and I are going to take this analysis, combine it with the analysis that we had from a focus group of community members from different quarters of the community. And then I'll be meeting with the library staff and having a SOAR exercise with them too. I'm gonna put it all together and turn it into some objectives and goals for the library for 5 years out. Thank you for your participation and for your support and interest in the library.
Thank you.
Thank
Eight
you, Craig,
o'clock on
so
the
much.
dot.
I
There you
know,
go.
he's good, right? When you were talking, we had it all the time.
Thank you, sir.
So you'll be in touch if they have comments.
Absolutely.
Very good. Well, it was nice to meet you all. Thank you.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's move on. Approval of the minutes, start with the January 8th.
We can start with the January 8th.
Yes, please.
All right, we'll not get to that.
Anybody have anything? It's a lot of pages.
Here we are.
That's a lot. Anything more than one is a lot to me.
There you go. Donna, you listen to me too much now.
Maybe you're rubbing off on me.
There you go.
Don't frighten me.
It's scary too. I actually will make the first comment about how much I appreciate Steph. I can't ever say that too much. And if you go to page 2 under trustees report. Well, let me see, number 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, well, the 5th bullet down. It's my only comment in the whole thing. Ms. Pecos Hanson's motion, as stated by Mr. Saltzback, to rescind policy 44. And then you wrote contingent and review. I mean, you wrote contingent upon a unanimously agreed upon. It actually wasn't done that way. It was with review and agreed upon. It wasn't contingent. So just to rescind policy 44 and review and agree upon a mission statement. And then, and then I guess a comma, I don't even need that.
I think that we did not rescind policy.
We did, it's been rescinded already, Susan, it's off the website.
That's a motion.
The motion was made and that happened already.
Okay. I had one other one just about that. Is it that the one, the bullet about Ms. Sloan stated if policy was rescinded? It says, in the second line, lost it against the board. It wasn't against the board, it was against the town, not the board.
Yes, good point.
I do.
Correct. Right.
I think we did say 10, but I'm not sure.
No, I think that's my time, not the board.
Well, we're part of the town.
That's
Well,
true.
that just mean everybody.
Yeah,
We didn't want to leave anyone.
good to be thorough. Okay, anything else?
Yes.
Good job, staff.
I need a motion.
I'll make a motion to make the amendment as put forth by Allison. And review, comma, and the one about that I made from changing from board to town.
I need a second.
I'm happy to second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody not? Okay.
You didn't actually approve the minutes.
What?
Just- Accept them.
I'm sorry, sir.
All right. Have a motion to accept the minutes, please,
We are, no, we already did, we already did. the motion
first
To accept as amended.
as amended. That's what I thought
Yeah.
too, so that's why.
Shouldn't involve.
Okay, moving on. Let's do the January 22nd.
Does anybody see any reading? Not a drop.
I make a motion to accept the minutes of January 22nd, 2024 as presented.
Can I have a second, please?
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No. Very good, moving on. Annie, Friends of the Flint.
Thanks, Donna. Just a couple of quick updates on what we're doing. As you know, the new census annual campaign form did go out. And I'm happy to report, in addition to the very large quantity of forms I've gotten back, and two very generous matching gifts that came in. We raised $7,605 from the time that the form went out and the end of the month of January. And that brings our total for our annual campaign as of the end of January to $16,840.64. Which is awesome to be in February and have amazing, that much is really awesome. We decided, the Friends decided on, as you may know, if people give $50 or more as a donation, we give a gift, they can come to the library and get a gift. And this year we've decided on an insulated lunch bag. We did that in 2016 and they're kind of wearing out, so people have been asking for them. So we decided to do it again. We're actually doing it in two colors because when the committee voted, half said they wanted it tan and half said they wanted it lime green. And our wonderful customer rep said, well, why don't we do 50 of one and 50 of another? So that way people can choose. And those are hopefully gonna be here in 10 days is our hope. And then we're gearing up for vacation week, which is next week. So lots of great programs for people who are not gonna be in school. And tonight I'm gonna give Loretta, the Friends give each staff member a $25 gift card. And a thank you note for the work that they do in honor of February being Love Your Library Month. So everyone on the staff will get it on Valentine's Day, and they can use it whatever way they want. And I also wanted to mention that our candy guessing game is up for February. And again, it's tied into Love Your Library, and it's in full swing, so don't forget to vote.
Thank you for that, it's cards to those who are wonderful.
Yeah, great,
And that's it, Tom, I'm all set.
super.
That's all legal as long as everybody gets one, right?
It's, no, I think.
Because it's a gift of more than $50 to the library.
No.
It's not to the library, it's the individual.
Yeah, but it's still
No.
It
considered,
has
but it,
nothing to do with the trustees.
no, I don't mean the trustees, just in municipality in general, right?
Are you talking the conflict of interest?
Yeah,
We're good. The
We're good.
ethics, the ethics, yeah.
the ethics, yeah, thank you. I just wanted to make sure we thought of it.
They've been doing it for years, right? There.
All right, moving on, trustees report. I know we've talked a little bit about the staff breakfast. I would like to get some sort of a tentative date. We did a June date, I'd like to see, and unfortunately, that's a major date of things going on here at the open reading thing.
Sunday we pick off.
Right, so it's not a good date. I would like to try to do it earlier if possible. I'm thinking like April. Sometime in April, because it's been a long time since we've done one. Dates to throw out. Well, a lot depends on what's going on here, and I don't know if.
Was there a preferred day, Loretta? Like day of the week or days that you could tell us based on what Dawn just said, the date we potentially proposed doesn't work?
Fridays usually work best because we have staff in the building.
And we're looking at like 9 AM or something, you said that they were right.
Right.
So that would be
So we've got the fifth, the twelfth, and eighteenth, the 26th. That's the dates. Easter, is it March? Yeah, it is. It's the 31st. Yeah, Good Friday's before that. So, is there anything that you know of, Loretta, or is there anybody that's?
So. Our space fills up fast. Um.
Are you having a staff,
I'm
you usually have a staff meeting on Fridays, right?
So April, because of school vacation week, we're most likely only going to have one staff meeting
Mhm.
that month. And I would, no offense to the board, but I would prefer not to use it to have breakfast because we have to cover business.
Okay,
So I'm not sure that April's going to work.
Is March too soon?
or we could do May, to begin to the, to do May, I guess. I don't know if March is too soon or not, but I mean, we could do March also. I don't know.
Loretta, do you think March is
Too soon, I think.
about
But I'm looking at March right now and
Go to
so
May then.
we would need the large meeting room. Is the only thing. So,
Then go to May, right?
so if we look at May.
Did you know June then?
Well, it can be done sometime in the fall or whatever. People want. Or anytime, right, it does,
Why don't we table this one?
okay,
When I meet with my staff at our next staff meeting, I'll have everyone take a look. We can discuss it. And then I can throw out some dates that would work.
that sounds like a plan.
Okay.
Thank you.
The Masconomic Scholarship, unfortunately, kind of hang around, we were supposed to answer this before January 31st, but I didn't get it. So one thing we want to do, I guess it got mailed to Tim directly. And I want to change it so that it's addressed to the treasurer / board of trustees. And I would like it to come to the address here at the library.
That's a good idea.
That way, whoever is the treasurer at the time, Loretta will give
Right.
them the sheet right away. So I think I sent this.
Yes, you did, yeah.
Okay, so does anybody have anything? I mean, basically it would be treasurer / board of trustees, one could remain you treasurer. And then, also the email address would be the trustees' email address. And the phone number would be the phone number of the library. The other question is, are we okay for the $1,000 scholarship? Are we still?
Does it come out of state aid?
What is, comes out of our regular state? aid?
No,
No.
it's a separate, this
It's
is
a
not-
check, it comes out of our checking account,
Right.
the trustees' checking account.
Okay, how much is in there right now? Don't have our budget.
I did. I sent you
Oh, yeah,
the-
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
sent
yeah,
you
we
the
do have it.
$133,000, I think we can afford.
I think we can afford 1,000, yeah, thank you. Yeah, well, it was, we raised it to 1,000 last year, I think we should keep it, I definitely think we should keep it.
Everybody okay with the $1,000?
Yes.
Before we move on with this. can I
I was gonna make a
also-
motion, but do we need to make a motion on this?
Well,
Are you gonna- Is there a
it would-
monkey wrench in it? It feels
but-
like you're gonna say something.
No, so just, for you to consider, right now we're giving to Mathco, which is absolutely wonderful. We do have more Middleton students attending the Essex Tech,
Yeah, we should.
so I don't know, and again, I'm not sure you know, they're sort of getting their life skills, you know, not, I don't know how many of them are continuing on to college after that.
Well, then how would we
But-
do that then?
I
So-
do know that I do know that the stream team. Well, we don't give scholarships, we give an award, because when a kid goes to college. They have to declare their scholarships as scholarships, and then the school deducts a lot of times. So we give an award, and we give to Essex Tech, and we give to Masco. And we call it an award as opposed to a scholarship, but that's us.
I like that though, that's a good reason.
Well, we could do an award type of thing to Essex also, Essex Tech, I mean, we can decide.
But would we
to do
change
that.
it from a scholarship to
Why would you
Masconomet and
leave it
just
as a
make it an
scholarship? Half to 500 to Masco and 500 to Essex Tech.
Because Susan had a good reason why you make it an award.
But
So
then
make it
you're
an award.
penalizing the Masco kids.
No,
that
I'm
have
not saying that,
reported.
just change the name of it from a scholarship to an award, that's all I was suggesting.
I don't know.
I don't think, I don't.
Masco would
I don't
allow
think-
that.
I don't think
isn't
it's
it?
supposed to do that.
So why
You're
not keep
changing
Mass
credit.
as a scholarship and then for the
And
Essex Tech?
just do the award.
And that way they can use it for tools if they needed tools after graduation or something.
That's a big change. But then what are we doing? Splitting 1,000?
And
That's, I don't know,
That's the
you know, I
That's
just,
the
but I
question.
thought, you know, we do have more and more Middleton students.
I think we just do it based on what presents to us too. What if we don't have someone who comes forth from the Aggie, for example? Then, so it
And
has to
there's
be
a lot
based
of
on
the
what
kids
school
do go on to college
In
from,
fact, the Middleton Stream Team only gives the award to somebody that's doing environmental school
studies. Yeah.
studies.
So that's very narrow, that's a very narrow.
Nice.
Right,
Yeah.
but we don't have to do that as the library, and we would need to contact the Essex.
So again, I don't think it's a decision that can be made tonight. I think there's
No.
more information that needs to be gathered, but just, you know, to get the wheels turning on this one, I thought I.
Okay,
So we should just
I
fix this one for now, right? This form.
but I think we should,
Masco.
someone should be contacting the Essex Tech and find out.
I'd be happy to do that.
Would you please, Loretta? That'd be great, 'cause- so the question is do we wanna stay with the? I mean, we have enough money to give $1,000 for both.
I'm sorry.
I think so.
Split it. That's-
I don't wanna
that's not-
split, that's not right.
I didn't wanna make that
I-
decision. without-
So let's just go with approving the one that we have right now.
And I know the
Change it.
difference between Masconomet and Essex Tech is that Masconomet, I think they said it had to be a Middleton resident
Mhm.
that got the scholarship, that got
It should be a Middleton resident.
that got the award. So for the, I
Yeah.
mean, for this, and Masconomet didn't let us have any input on who got the scholarship. Where, or award, where Essex Tech did in a way, I guess, so, there was some kind of different.
I do, right, I do work with Masco. They give me a list of the
Yes.
Middleton seniors that are
Yeah.
applying for it.
Right.
I go through the list. I see who has a library card, or if maybe it's a page at the library, and I let them know, okay, this person actually works here, this person has a library card.
So it does defer to Middleton residents.
Yeah,
Yes,
And we could do the
And I
same with
think-
the tech, actually, too.
I can ask when I reach out.
I mean, I think the Tech we didn't do, but,
The tech we didn't because we wanted an environmental.
yeah.
And so it didn't matter to us, as long as somebody was gonna save our earth and our river.
Mm.
We didn't care if they lived in Pelham, New Hampshire or Berryville, New York.
No,
So,
that's fair.
But I think I think the library, I like us sticking with a Middleton resident.
So Loretta's gonna vote, so I need a motion to do the form so I can get it into
I
the.
make a motion to edit the form as presented in the. Put the treasurer / board of trustees, changing the address to the 150 Main Street. And to the Dear instead of Tim Hooton to treasurer. And down below the contact information,
Yeah.
changing it. Do we
Okay.
say what it is or?
No,
Okay.
and approving the $1,000.
And approving the continuing to approve the $1,000.
Can I have a second?
Susan?
I said,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, no, great, and Loretta will do the follow-up for Essex, thank you, thank you for bringing it up. Mission statement. Now, I had sent one over, but I like Allison's better.
Well, no, thank you. I think yours was very much in line with what I had kind of put
It
together.
was, but you've come back, and I think, Susan, I think this might make you feel better that Allison put this in a policy format, that this is gonna be the replacement of the policy. One thing I do want to ask about it is, the Friends of the Flint Library mission statement, did you see that?
I did.
Amy?
That was what was on the website. I took it right from there. And
But I
Okay.
would like to just, before it's, I would like to show it to the committee.
Right, before we completely approve this, in other words. Okay, so then we can hold off on, we can do edits and stuff now, but we won't completely approve the whole thing.
I'd also like to do, just point this out, Donna. I got this in the mail. And the Council on Aging has a mission statement, and I thought theirs was very, very nicely worded and just an example of.
Not to add.
No, not to copycat them or even, but just to see how nice and clear they wrote theirs.
Right.
But it was very nice.
Would you like me to read it, everyone? Susan? To enhance and promote the best quality of life for elders in our community by treating those we serve with respect, dignity, and interest. We strive to foster self-fulfillment and independence.
Isn't that nice?
It is. So does anybody have anything with the draft policy 44 that we might want to make any edits to it?
Nope.
I think the trustees advocate for library patrons. And I think we also do for the library, it's, the library staff or the library.
And the trustees.
It says that in the first line.
I was actually thinking of suggesting we change the word advocate to support. So I always edit my own stuff too,
You
so.
have support there.
Do we have support
It's just
later on?
support, said it in the first line.
Support the mission.
Yeah, there you go, okay.
It says it. Maybe you edited it, and didn't.
I did, true enough. let me tell you.
You did say advocate.
I will explain that I
But,
really,
and I'm sorry, I want to just say, to answer Susan's thing,
Mm.
she does say that.
Does say
It does
that.
say that we're supporting, because the last two lines here, participate in the hiring of the library director to support the day-to-day operation of Flint Library and its staff. So that's where this support, I mean, if you want something more written. And we just can do some edits now, we're not gonna completely approve this
Mhm.
at this time. I mean, maybe we should just table it and give it another month of looking at.
Oh, because Amy says she wants to.
Right, Annie wants to get her part approved with her people,
Okay.
her people.
Mm.
Is anybody,
I mean, I really just, the only comment I want to make is that I really researched, obviously, a lot of other mission statements and really tried to pull from everything that everyone had put in that nice list you sent us, Donna.
Yeah.
I tried to make sure all those concepts were in here, and I also wanted to make sure it followed what the Mass Board of Library Commissioners' language was.
okay,
Because I don't definitely agree with all of their language. I think they're a little wordy, but I just felt, that they're our guiding organization, so as
Okay.
trustees.
So we're gonna do it the next meeting.
so I think everybody needs to go back, really look at this again. We'll find out from Annie about the things and, we'll go through the process again next meeting,
Thank you.
okay? Everybody all right with that?
Yes.
Thank you. Treasurer's report. Okay, changing my hat. I did send you all the treasurer's report, and of course, we didn't have as good a month as we had month before, when we made $5,000, we only made $777.53, which I'm still thrilled about. So we have a bottom line of $133,830.99. So we can definitely afford those two scholarships.
Wonderful.
The only thing that's outstanding now is the one check that I wrote for the Malone Fund for the 4178. The town just hasn't cashed it yet, but other than that. Anybody have anything when they looked at the money or anything? All right. Moving on. Oh, Loretta, the director's report.
Thank you, Donna.
Mhm.
So starting with the circulation and budget reports, is there anyone that needs a printed copy of either? Sorry, budget report? Yeah. Anyone else need anything to hear about? Both, one of each? Sure. Thank you. So we'll start with the CERC report, which for those that have the printed copy, it's the purple ones. Um,
Can I just say, I went by the music with the kids. And oh my God. That room was full to the brim and was wonderful. I hid outside the door and listened. So,
Thank you. Yes, the program that Susan is referring to is CFCE of North Shore, and they're wonderful. They put on a great show.
They do.
So we're very lucky that Jackie coordinates with them to put that program on here. We're very lucky. So I'm still happy to report that our circulation is trending up. We're still over 6,000 items a month. So if you're looking at year over year, we have 2,438 more circulations this fiscal year than we did last year. And again, last year was a record-breaking number. So the fact that we are still so steadily increasing is really good news. Likewise, our attendance, we're still seeing really strong numbers every month. And year over year, we're higher. 3,842 more people have come to the library this year over last. So again, I couldn't be more proud of the programs that my staff has put together, the collections that they've curated, the maintenance and the attention that they give to everything. It really shows because, you know, that's what's drawing these folks into the library. That's what's getting folks to use their library, borrow the items from their collection. So again, praises to my staff. Any questions on the circulation report? Moving on to the budget report. Start with some good news. Our state aid deposit did come in. So
Yeah,
you'll see that the January deposit of $10,944.42. Yeah, so very good news there. We finally cleared and hit our account, so it is in there for us to use. Everything else is sort of trending, no real surprises there. You will notice that there are two columns for January A and January B, and that's because we had a deposit into the materials line from the Malone Fund, that $41.78. So it's deposited into our book account. It looks like a negative. It looks like it was subtracted out, but that's actually a deposit so that it formulates correctly and adds into the available book balance. So those are the only sort of outliers. Everything else is pretty straightforward, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. All right. There are no questions. We will move on to the capital budget requests for FY25. So I submitted two capital budget requests. One was for roof work and copper trim work on the building. And the other is for replacing staff computers. So you'll see 3 quotes. I reached out to 4 contractors for the roof. 3 of them got back to me. Those 3 quotes that were provided to me for the work were shared with you. The one that gave the most extensive quote and really took the time to look through the building and actually got up on the roof, was JD Kidney Roofing. You will notice that that proposal did come in significantly higher than the others. And it's not because, that the others didn't do a good job. But it is because JD Kidney specializes in copper work specifically, whereas the other companies are more focused on roofing. So with all the copper work that we have around our building, copper gutters, copper accent pieces, copper trim, there are some pieces that need full replacing. And the companies that provided the lower quotes were looking to just kind of tack back up what is pulled away from the building. Whereas JB Kidney can replace what is what is in need.
And what does that mean? What if
So-
what if it just gets tacked back up? Is that an
So some of
acceptable?
the gutters have holes. And you can see daylight through them. The copper trim on the front of the building is actually starting to corrode. We have birds nesting behind it.
Great.
So, I know.
Do they have library cards?
So it is known that there is some copper that actually needs to be replaced.
And how do these
not
other
just-
companies suggest dealing
So-
with that?
One of them didn't even know if they would be able to tack it back up.
Okay,
So
so,
they just said, you know, what we can do is tack back up. And if there's anything bent or pulled away, like the gutters and some of the trim has bent and pulled away, they would just put it back on.
even if they said they can't put it back on?
So this corner, they're not sure that they can put on.
And what if they
Because they
can't?
didn't come out with staging or cranes. So,
Right.
but looking at it, they said that, so where the birds are nesting, there is waste that is, causing, it's basically like deteriorating the sandstone building
Gotcha.
and where that's there. So they're not sure that they can actually use the original mass and mount that copper back on the building.
So my question, I'm sorry, my question is, fair enough, I'm glad you're honest with me, thank you for stating that. Therefore, if we hire your company, what would your cost and solution be to fix that? Or didn't they even address it? They said, no, we just wouldn't fix
Which
it.
company?
Either one of the non-copper companies.
So they would fix it to the extent that they're able. So, you know, I'm not sure whether they use glue or whether they just bend it back and hope that the bend stays for as long as it can.
So
you
they're
know,
not really gonna fix it, is what you're saying.
Correct.
And
Right.
then a couple years down the line, we're gonna have to have this done.
They'll make the copper, you know, where it's bent away from the building, and obviously an issue, they'll bend it back and make it look okay, but it won't be a full repair, which is what JB Kidney can do.
So
So
Aspen
that's the difference.
and, you know, for,
That's computers, that's.
I'm
not-
sorry, I got it out of order. Aspen and which city roofing?
Which
Aspen.
city?
Which
Correct.
city have both said, we can do it at this price, but it won't include a full repair?
Correct.
That's
It
what
won't
it's-
include all the full copper work. Because they don't do that.
Yeah, but what's the
That's why
good for us? If you come into the library and say, I want these 5 books, and you say, well, here's 4, I'm sorry, we can't do it, but we'll kind of give you the cover. Because, you know, it'll look like you have a 5th book. Well, that doesn't solve the problem.
Correct.
Is there anything with the town that says that, you know, why we have all this copper? Is there any thought of doing something other than copper, something that's more sturdy, that doesn't cost us as much?
So copper's very sturdy, I mean,
Normally,
Lady
right?
Liberty's built of copper, and
Right.
she's, you know, stood
Well.
the test of time.
I
But
guess.
anything will deteriorate over time, especially when corrosive substances are put on it, which the bird waste is corrosive. over
It's horrible.
So, that's the real issue, that corner. And the original building where that side, where the copper has actually started to.
And has any building in town, have any of these guys ever done anything for the people in town? And
I honestly don't know
Municipal.
if they've done Middleton work. I did reach out to Danvers and they've used actually all of them, except for JB Kidney. I don't think they use them, but Aqua Barriers, Aspen Roofing, and Which City, they all were used by Danvers.
And do they have copper and everything,
So-
or do they not?
I don't know. When I reached out and said I need roofers that do slate roof and copper, those were the ones that we recommended. JB Kidney, I found through the directors.
So when you look at the numbers, the 49,000 versus let's just say 17,000, make it easy. For Aspen and
It's
which
basically
city?
17,000, 20,000, and 50,000.
Right, so but what I'm saying is that extra 30,000 is for 2 or 3 pieces of copper. I mean, that just seems like a whole heck of a lot
So-
of money.
The copper, like the trim and the gutters, they're custom made. So he's going to be getting sheets of copper and fabricating the trim and the gutters. So it's the cost of materials, which copper is very expensive, but also to the labor that's involved.
Mhm.
So a lot of it is labor.
So can we look for a company that doesn't build the gutter itself, but goes and buys a copper gutter for us?
It's custom made.
It's all-
Right,
it's all-
they're
This
custom
is
shapes,
just, they're all
custom
custom
sizes.
made.
All guys are, they come to your house and do it right on site. That's how they, even at homes, they've done homes.
You can't just go buy a gutter?
Not usually, I mean, it's just like for a small piece, but if you're doing your house, generally, the gutter guy comes out and they make them on site
And
to
that's,
fit your house.
I'm just looking to see if there's a company that is in the middle, I guess, that will do the full job, but not for 2.5 times as much.
So again, they're roofers that can do, they'll get it to work. But are they going to make it as finished as the craftsman will, basically, as JB Kidney would?
They'll get it to
No.
work with glue and what did you just say?
I don't know, you're bending it back in,
Case ice,
but if that mounts.
cake icing, you know.
Right,
No, it's what Donna
So-
said, does that mean a couple of years later that they'll be back again? That's
They'll be
right.
back again,
Right,
it's another 20 grand.
Or more, because
Right.
then it's
So-
full of other work.
And it might ruin,
The-
and we might get
Right.
water.
Where right, so
I think you need another quote or two, Loretta, that of people who do this work, if these aren't, it's not apples.
it's
to
hard, you can't find them. I've reached out to
In the
other
winter?
directors.
apples. I would think.
Yes, there are very few that do copper work. Amesbury Library is running into the same problem that we are.
So we better get these guys
Because-
signed up.
So,
before they-
well, yes, and they're filling up fast. But also too, we are in a building where. This 1891 building where attention to detail that was how things were built.
Oh, I'm
So
not
in
even,
order to repair and maintain that level of craftsmanship, it's a very rare skills that you're looking for, and you're paying for that labor, which is why JB is higher. So
Have you talked to the DPW people who are in the know of things like this and asked them about?
I reached out to Brad Swanson, who is in charge of the facilities maintenance over there. And actually JB Kidney was his recommendation too. So when I met with
You didn't
Justin
have another one?
and he did, and they were not taken.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Justin, can I ask Justin a question? Is that okay? Does the town, I mean, we can't be the only roof. I get it that we're a very specialty building and all that, and I know that we're building a heavy center, but I can't believe the other roofs on the other buildings haven't needed repairs. What?
We're slate, we're
They don't
slate.
have slate.
So we talked about it pretty extensively today, so there's a couple points that are worth noting, I think. One is that out of the quotes that you have, the lowest quote, which is 17.
17.
Yes.
It's not gonna be 17, so if you were to give them the work, they'd get up there and then they start finding things,
Right.
right? So the gap that you're seeing between the high bid and the low bid isn't really as large.
Okay,
Paper.
okay.
The other component is, as Laura highlighted, it's extremely specialized work. So slate roofs, and copper gutters and all the seams and everything, they solder them right there on site, you can't have them pre-made. And that's part of the, I guess, the value of this building is that it's unique, but the downside is it's expensive to maintain and upkeep. So you could find somebody that can do it cheaper, but they're not gonna do it that's original to the building, and then slowly over time, when you start cutting corners, you really kind of devalue the building. So the recommendation that we had in the meeting today was to talk to the high bid, ask them to develop a very sturdy and specific scope of work. And then use that scope of work to apples to apples to apples to apples for other
Okay.
firms.
Yeah, because that was the other impression I got.
A, B, C, D, and E, what would it cost? And that way you can really kind of narrow down those. a true cost of that. So our recommendation was actually in the capital plan to put in a largest figure as a placeholder. And then, if we could work together.
And the select board, do you get the sense the select board is not going to choke over that number?
I can't speak for them, but I can, you know, I do, or have done in previous communities, a lot of historic preservation work, and that number is actually pretty low.
And where's this money gonna come from? Excuse me, I'm sorry. Where's this money gonna come from state aid?
So-
We certainly don't have any maintenance money left.
Correct, which is why this is a capital item. So capital
Which would come
is
from the
outside
town.
of our operating budget, so to speak, it's additional project.
So free cash, more than likely, out of town coffers.
So we have to go to town meeting and have it approved through the,
Yep, and then anything that would pop up beyond that, the balance thereof, you'd have to cover somewhere within your budget.
which could come out of the state aid.
But that's what we want to happen is what you're saying, if we went with the lower one, that could be a problem.
We'll end up paying twice as much as.
Oh, so what, I guess what I'm saying is that if you say you set aside, I think 40 is the number that we.
It's 39 plus 9.
Plus 9, it's
Oh,
about 50.
sorry, so it's 50 even.
Yeah.
And then you do find, I mean, it's inevitable, if they get out there and say, hey, start peeling some layers back, we saw some of the underlayments were out of the way, you know, it's gonna be an extra 1,200, if you want to do it all up here. You're not gonna go back to town meeting and wait for that 1,200, right? So like, you could dip into your library budget for that.
State aid for that.
But have the bulk covered by,
Which is not uncommon when they get up there.
no.
So basically, you're saying, Justin, that was kind of, so maybe.
I will say that JB Kidney took the time to go through every square inch of this building with me. He went up on the roof, he went in the attic, he went outside, he took he was thorough.
I think we should
More
follow
so
Justin's
than-
guidance regardless of that, but you're saying it's fine, but it's more important what Justin's saying is the guidance and having them give you more detail.
I'd like to say that I appreciate that the town is putting a placeholder in for this money. I think that's very generous, and I think our state aid can cover any wiggle room, but, I like Justin's suggestion that, yeah, what you're agreeing with you that, we need to go back to everybody with what did you call it, apples to apples versus apples to oranges. And let,
Lucky and Kinley is the one you go with, not the other two, for that detail. Doesn't sound like the other two will do it.
Right, you can only go back to JJ Kennedy.
well, you can go back to JB Kinley and get a list of work, how they're actually gonna break it down, and then take that list of these are the jobs we need done to other vendors and say, are you competent to do this? Do you have the resources?
They don't.
They
I mean,
don't,
they
we
don't,
already
but-
know there
but
is
they
no
don't.
one else. This is it.
This
This
is
is
it.
the only one that exists.
We will,
Doesn't
we
get it
can
better.
still.
No, that is, well, that's not overbooked already.
So I think that's a good recommendation. I would like to make a motion. that-
Well, what are we voting on?
Of going, having Loretta go back. Is that a
So,
motion we need from you or just
earmarking-
tell you that?
No, so earmarking the dollar amount for JB Kidney
Right,
with the understanding that the cost of the roof repairs could be as high as $50,000.
So we need more detail back.
So-
But I'd like to get an apples to apple comparison. I'd like to find a company that can say, well, if you want those 4 things done, we can only,
This is what we
do
already did,
2.
that's what they came out for, was they looked at the roof, they looked at the copper work, they looked at the copper trim and the copper gutters. And they said,
But they
"This is what we
didn't
can
tell us
do."
what they do.
Yes, they did, they have a breakdown,
It's,
they're all attached there.
Yeah, I didn't feel they were comparable.
If I can just provide some process clarification here, so. Where you're at right now, you're not approving one firm or another to do the work, you're approving and supporting the project that is described to move forward to town meeting and get funding.
right.
okay.
That's not, you won't get the funding until May, you're not gonna be able to kick off the work until the summer.
Mhm.
In terms of nailing down a specific contractor and all that, narrowing down the scope work, Loretta and I can work together and hammer that out between now and the summer, there's plenty of time.
I mean, if it ends up being JB Kidney,
It has to be done.
that's fine. And if you're gonna earmark 50,000 and the town's okay with it, that's fine. I'm just saying, I don't think we have enough information right now.
But
And
we,
that's what Justin said.
Justin's saying that to Allison, that it's an earmark of that. It doesn't mean that
I know,
we're
but if you
approving
don't
this.
go to anybody but JB Kidney, then,
But you can't go to anybody
The other
else.
two don't have, are not.
so what's the earmarking? You're earmarking money for JB Kidney.
Right, so that they don't come and overcharge us more and more and more. We wanna know specifically exactly what they're gonna do.
You're setting, right now, you're exclusively setting aside the funds or voting to have it go forward to town meeting for your fellow taxpayers to set aside the funds. In
Right,
terms of the actual public procurement of the job, that's something that's gonna happen down the road. It doesn't necessarily, it could be none of those people in that stack.
Right.
Correct.
But at least at that point, you'll have the money in hand and you can shop it around and find, the lowest qualified contractor.
the longer it takes us though, the less likely it is that we're gonna get it repaired this summer. I mean, I know, but
Before we can book them,
yeah,
you
but
mean,
can we book them earlier than that? We can't.
not
No,
knowing
you
you
have to
have
get
the
the
funds.
you know when you have the funds.
Right.
Well, we have state aid. Okay, so what, I'm presuming that,
So I'm requesting that the board make a motion to, though at our conversation, it was $40,000 and the state aid would be the remainder. Are we looking to ask for the full 50?
You wanna say up to 50 and then we can lower it if we have to.
I'd say up to
Okay.
50.
Up to 50, so the board will make a motion for up to $50,000.
mhm,
And then if it happens to come over, the use of state aid would then be an option.
okay, somebody wanna make that motion?
I'll make that motion
Somebody wanna second it?
as stated by Loretta.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, anybody opposed? No, let's move on.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
So
That
the,
effort, Loretta, in doing all that, I'm sure that was a lot of work to find those three, to go through it, that's.
finding someone that can do copper work is very, very difficult.
It's a big
Slate-
project,
Okay, but the copper work is the real.
absolutely, it's a big project to go through all that, thank you.
So the second and final request, capital request that I put together was the staff computers, updating staff computers. They are 5 years old. It's recommended that they get replaced at a regular interval. And especially where security is a concern. We want to make sure that they're staying up to date and able to take the latest updates.
So we're replacing all 10, or we're not just rotating and replacing 2 or 3 or 4 every year so that the.
So that's more talk that we're still planning. Again, this is, we're very much in the beginning stages of putting a capital plan in place. So it's, the proposal that you've seen before you, that's the cost of doing all 10 at once with 8 new monitors. 2 computers have newer monitors, so we're all set there. So whether or not that happens in 1 year, whether or not we space that out, that's to be determined. But again, the cost to do all of the 10 computers and the 8 monitors with installation is the $10,377.
It's actually not that expensive.
So
1,000 a computer, this is very inexpensive.
Yeah.
N04 is, they're the town's IT, so they work with us in prices. They're very good.
Yeah, no kidding.
I would say get it done all at once if you can.
Well, and that's to be determined, but if the board supports the replacement of the computers, that's the ask. Is the 10,000.
Can I ask, is there a way, I mean, are there some that could be recycled, like 5, like 5 this year and 5, so that, I mean, are they still workable or is
So,
it?
correct. So, and that's what was part of the conversation that I had earlier today with Justin and the finance director. Was that, if we need to space this out, we can do, there are computers that need to be done first.
Right.
But there are some that maybe in the back office, we do at a later date. So they can be done in rotation, yes.
And to clarify that, to replace all 10 computers, to replace 8 of the monitors
Correct.
with a complete install, and I'm assuming making sure all the software works and all, making sure they actually run.
Correct,
Is going to be a total of $10,377
correct.
if we do them all at once.
Correct.
So these are just the staff ones, these aren't all the other ones that are gonna.
No, that's
some
entirely
kids.
separate.
And how many other computers are there?
We have 20 public computers.
20 public besides.
But
these?
that's not gonna be part of this.
No, I
Um,
understand that, and 16, you think 16 gigabyte of RAM is enough,
Yes,
really? Even with the MVLC software and all of that
Yep.
stuff?
Yep.
Wow, that's lucky.
Now that Dawn had brought that up, are you looking then next year to replace the 20 public ones? Is this gonna be what you'll be asked going forward?
no, so this is, the public ones are going. So we have our materials budget and 10% of our materials budget can be used for technology for the public.
Mhm.
So I'm working on putting a plan in place on using some of that to replace the PC every year. It won't be all 20, obviously,
Right.
that there's no way we can afford to do that,
Mhm.
but to have it rotate each year will be replaced.
Within what we have in our budget.
I heard this, step computers, on a higher level than the public
Yes.
ones. Then are you gonna use the ones that you replaced to replace the public ones? Why
So
wouldn't you?
we could, so we'd have to wipe them entirely first, which is a whole nother step. So that might be an option to buy time, but it's not something that I would want to do, only because one, they were staff computers and I don't wanna use them if we don't have to, because there's a lot saved on there that's sensitive.
But what do you mean?
But also
When you replace it, you're wiping out the.
We'd have to wipe it all.
Well, you would do that no
Correct.
matter what.
But
You're
that-
not gonna just toss it in a bin. You have to do that no matter what.
So the public PCs, they run a little bit differently, they run different software and everything, so yes, we could reinstall and reuse, but at the same time, you're now using old computers that you were getting rid of because they're old and not up to date for the patrons, which seems counterintuitive to me. We have
Not,
patrons
not if
coming
they're
in
better than
for-
the ones they're using right now.
Which they're not, you know.
Okay,
they're-
that's the question.
No, they're not,
Okay, fine,
so,
I don't need to know anymore,
Okay.
thanks.
Well, I'm willing to make a motion to approve this, for 10,377 to replace 10 computers with 8 monitors completely installed.
Now, again, you're going through the town for this
this is the capital request, yes.
capital request. And if they deny this part of it, then it comes back for Christine to pay for.
No, we don't have to move forward with the capital project unless we decide that we would do that. So this is going to go to, with your approval, will be presented at the capital budget meeting
Right,
for review by the select board and the finance committee.
right.
Then they'll determine whether or not it gets put onto a warrant for the residents to vote.
And if they decide no, then we can come back and decide we're gonna pay for it
We can
ourselves.
figure out what to do.
And these people will work with us through the town.
They do.
Yes, because
Okay, I know that you, but I'm just making sure that if we're going in a different route, that they'd still work with us. Okay, great. Who's doing a motion?
I think Allison.
Allison?
Okay, so I'll just add to make a capital request to replace, as I just said, for 10,377.
Motion.
All those in favor?
Uh,
Aye. Opposed? No,
wonderful. Thank you, folks.
thank you.
I am going to try to zip through the rest of these. Thank you. Because we are getting late. So thank you for your support on the capital. Building updates. I'm sorry, we gotta do the programming statistics first. So January program statistics, I've sent that all out to you. Any questions on that? Again, it's pretty straightforward, no real surprises there. But I'm happy to answer any questions.
Again, thank you for being more specific with ages and stuff. It makes such a
helps.
difference.
It does.
It really
Yeah.
does.
It helps just to
It definitely.
delineate each section. It's helpful for the eye.
Absolutely.
Get some really good turnouts.
We've had some really great turnouts. So, we had 27 adult programs. We had just under 200 people come to those. If you include the virtual attendees for those live programs, we had over 207.
Yeah,
So,
it's awesome.
yeah, in teens, again, 45 with 3 programs. So really good numbers there, for the passive program included as well. For the Taylor Swift Take and Make activity kits, leave it up to Taylor to draw in a crowd.
It's amazing.
Were those the things they would have given away if the
It was,
program had
they
been
were
able
sort
to
of,
happen?
yeah, they were repurposed,
Mm.
but that doesn't mean we can't
She
do
did a
that
very
program.
nice job. I happened to be walking by from at our last meeting, and she was doing a packet, and
Yeah.
she showed me what she was doing.
I have to
It
say,
looked
the-
nice, it looked
yeah.
nice, what she was putting, very nice. what she was
Yeah,
putting together.
the programming librarians,
I
they
can't
have
believe it.
an unbelievably strong artistic eye and artistic
Mm,
skill. They're
yeah.
very good at putting things together, and their marketing is superb.
Yeah,
So
when we were
yes,
leaving
thank
the
you
meeting on the
for saying
22nd.
that.
I was going by and I saw it, I said, what is that? And
Yeah,
explained it to me.
Yeah.
I said, I told
it's
her.
eye catching.
Yeah, it
Take one
was, that's
yourself.
what I wanted to know, that I'm not, no, thanks. I'm not into that.
Not a Swiftie.
No, I'm not a Swiftie, absolutely not.
So, and then for the kids programs, we did see, we had, the 9 programs, 258 attendees, but if you look at the virtual views, again, that's 110 additional. And then passive programs included, altogether, we had 368 folks.
That's fantastic.
Amazing.
Congratulations to you
So,
guys, to the staff,
Well,
amazing.
they're doing a lot of great things.
They are.
All right. So updates on the building. We are going to be closed tomorrow due to the weather. All municipal departments will be.
Hopefully it'll be no
So-
storm.
Mexico doesn't
They
have
keep
school.
changing it.
Yeah,
They keep
so
changing
many
it. It's like
libraries
12
closed.
inches, now it's down to 2 inches. I don't know.
Well, that's new.
Yeah, exactly.
So we have taken steps to prepare for the storm. The snow blower has been checked and refueled. The salt inventory has been replenished. Custodians have been scheduled to keep up with snow removal off our walkways and stairs, so we fully expect to be open normal hours on Wednesday. So we'll take care of it all on Tuesday and be ready to go on Wednesday. Also, we will be closed Sunday, February 18th and Monday, February 19th in observance of President's Day. Updates on library programs and services. Jackie's looking to schedule pop-up story times at local businesses in town. So far, we have partnered with McDonald's for pop-up story time with Miss Jackie on Friday, March 8th from 12 to 12:30 p.m. Yes. So, updates on, again, so that's, the first one, we are looking to get more Middleton businesses involved in it too, so. But as you may remember, the MVLC mobile app went down, a while back. It is back up. We went with a new vendor, MVLC went with a new vendor. So it's once again available for Apple and Android devices. So if you have an Apple device, you can just update your old version. It will figure it out for you and should start working. Android devices that had the old app, uninstall it first and then reinstall the new MVLC mobile app. If you have any questions, ask your friendly librarian for details. So updates on the strategic planning. We are moving right along with that. I thank Greg for all his help with this. I thank the strategic planning committee for their help and their feedback and input. It's been invaluable. Today, Greg and I were working on the survey that we will be sending out to the residents. I apologize for the appearance of this. This is still very much a document, a work in progress if you just take that and pass it down. So you will see my edits on there, but this is the latest version as of today. So, this is how fast we're moving along with this. So everyone have a copy. So I do want to take a couple minutes to go over this with you, because we are looking to get this to go live next week.
Are you gonna give us, you want us to?
So I'm gonna go,
tonight?
I'm going through this with you tonight.
Oh, boy.
I will say that I think our meeting, the strategic planning committee was really
It was
great.
excellent.
I really
So
think.
the changes that were proposed by the committee at our last meeting last week have been incorporated into this survey. The marks that you see in the blue or pen, I don't think you got color copies, but the marks that you see in pen were what I revised today. So the bulk of the corrections were on this first page. So you can see that the final sentence I shortened a bit. So it will read, "You are welcome to complete an additional survey on behalf of your young children or others in your care." Period. Additionally, the final sentence on the last paragraph there says, respondents up to age 12 will be entered into a drawing for a prize, and older respondents will be entered for a Friends of the Library swag bag. So thank you to the Friends for donating some items for a prize for those that respond to the survey. We'll be removing the final bulleted line there for the print version. It will stay on there for the digital version. So people have the option of filling this out online or submitting a hard copy. So what you're looking at, the wording is more or less the same. It's just, you have to make it specific to a hard copy, which is why that one was omitted. So no changes on page 2. No changes on page 3. And these are just pretty straightforward questions. What's your age? What school are you going to? That way we can kind of target our marketing. Indicate if your library use is primarily in person or online. Question 5 is how often you use the library. So this one will give folks the prompt to either skip to question 11 or skip to question 6, which I know doesn't make sense because they're on question 5. Skipping to 6 is, it's just the next one. But unfortunately, the way the software works, you have to, once you set up the question to have a skip option, each answer has to have.
It's a very
the word
limited
skip.
software.
Yeah, so, that's why that's there. But question 6, what's the main reason that you use the library infrequently or never? And they can fill out their answer. Tell us more about why you use it infrequently or never, and what kinds of services would encourage you to use the Flint Library. So number 9, would you like to receive additional information about the library, its services and programs? Respondents can answer yes or no, and it will bump them to question 19. But it also gives gives respondents the opportunity to say what information would be useful, and what they would be interested in. Number 11 is a long list of all the very exciting and wonderful services that we offer here. And we're asking folks to please indicate all of the following existing library services that are important to you and your family. So these are services that we are currently offering, and we're looking at their feedback on what they're using, but also hopefully to inform them of services they may not yet already know about. So. Number 12, I'm going to be talking with Greg and seeing if possibly we can omit this,
Yeah, I think
just to
we
make
should.
it shorter, tell us more about what's important to you. But that sort of, indicate all of the services that are important to you, and it gives them the other
Yeah.
option. We sort of don't need it.
Yeah.
So number 12 might be going away, just to make it shorter for folks and not so intimidating and time consuming. Time is valuable. 13 is asking folks about our hours of operation. So whether they're currently fine, whether folks are looking for additional morning hours, Sunday through Friday, whether patrons would like additional evening hours, Sunday through Friday, or Saturday hours, or other, gives them the option to provide us some feedback. So question 13 is all about our hours of operation.
I like the way it turned out, Donna.
It's
I
a
think
lot better. It's
you did a
still
good job.
confusing.
So the library is evaluating its services. Please indicate priorities for your family. This is question 14. Please indicate priorities for your family and yourself. Following areas. So we did programming, but we also talked about collection as well. So that's that other column on the right that we've added.
At the end, cut off, expanded.
Yes.
It just got cut
So,
off.
right, so when the online survey was converted to a PDF, you'll notice actually on all of the pages, that right margin, a lot of the text got chopped off.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is this a final survey or?
This is still in draft form. We are looking to get it to go live next week. So you do have time to kind of look this over. If there's any changes that you want to get back to me, you can do that individually, but right. And then, yeah, like no later than Thursday, really.
Of this week.
Correct.
We've really spent.
But we did,
hours really
hours
looking
going
for
through the
hours.
survey.
Yeah.
So, number 15, we will be adding tween space and teen space on there, and that came in as a staff recommendation. Number 16, I'm just taking out Kiwanis because they're not Kiwanis anymore, it's the 17th Club. But it also gives people an opportunity to answer other, they're part of another group that's not listed. Question 17, and we're almost at the end, I promise. This is to hear back on communication methods that folks prefer, so that we know our efforts are being maximized. So our website, our e-newsletter, Facebook, Middleton Community Facebook groups, different social media avenues, but also newspapers and online newspapers, flyers at the library. So hopefully we can, like I said, maximize our efforts to reach more people, because several of you here tonight said, how do we get more people informed about what we do? We provide options for additional comments, and then the option for them to leave their contact information so we can follow up with them, or if they're interested in a raffle.
Can I
Yes.
ask a question? This is gonna be on computer.
Or paper.
Or paper, so if people come into the library in order to get as many people to fill it out. Will you be given, like, say, would the staff be saying, can you fill out this?
We will have hard copies available at the library. for
But
patrons.
to like, kind of push it to be filled?
Correct, so we're also going to have QR codes as well, so that if they prefer to fill it out digitally, they can just do so on the phone, scan the QR code.
But
go
like,
right to
if
the
you had
survey.
that room full of parents with kids.
We'll have
and-
surveys there,
In,
ready to
to
go.
And it'll be on the electronic sign, come on in and fill out a
It'll be on the
survey.
website,
Okay,
we're actually
yeah.
gonna be sending it to the COA so that they can include it in their newsletter. We're hoping to
That
get it
Q-
in the schools.
And maybe-
QR codes, correct.
and maybe give hard copies to the Council on Aging.
Or different town meetings, like, yeah.
Well, we only have, it has to be done by March 22nd. We only have like 4 weeks, get it out and filled and put
Right.
together.
Mm.
This isn't something where we can wait. It has to go to everybody right away.
But I think that QR code, you can just make a poster with that QR code and put it in Maggie's and Solbean and Ace Hardware and TJ's and, I mean, if you just have it on the wall in different places, Market Basket, they go.
Right.
Yeah,
You'd be surprised how bad people are about doing surveys. I know you love them. I know you love them. But when they just did the one just recently, the zoning one, they were begging for people to fill.
Well, that's a
you know,
pretty controversial, and people probably nervous about that.
I guess, but
So if
anyway, we need to get this filled out.
right, so if
Talking
everyone,
about possibly, having a table.
So- I will be at the transfer station with our beautiful Flint tent. Thank you.
And I'll be happy to join you, so you can be like.
So that I can, yes, that I can get folks either the QR code or the survey so that they can do
Good,
that.
because
So,
we need, we were talking about it, we'd be happy if we got 100 or 200. I wish we get a lot more than that.
take a tip from the friends, bookmark with our,
my staff put those together, yeah. So we are QR
She
code
said that was
fanatics.
yes, good,
Yes,
good.
so no, my staff put those
People
together.
love
They-
them.
Yeah, QR codes just make it easy, so we will be heavily utilizing that to do it.
Okay,
Loretta's gonna say,
Use the library, have them fill it out. You wanna know, why don't you?
not yet.
Like, I just had this conversation,
Where-
she cannot do the QR. code. She's on the
Yep.
70.
Yeah, and then we'll have hard copies for
And
them.
are we gonna be able to get hard copies to give out to people,
Yes.
you you'll have them here,
Yes.
right? Okay. All right, anything else?
So, no, so just if you can take time to look it over, I will be able to edit this until about Thursday or Friday at the very latest, so.
Okay.
Yeah, certainly, sure. So thank you for that. Let me just double check my report. I think that's everything. So no, just final notes on the strategic planning process. The survey, as Donna said, will run until March 22nd. After the survey period is closed, Greg and I will compile the results. And then he's going to draft his assessment of all the data that we collect. At that point, I'll review the feedback and his assessment and begin drafting the strategic plan. I will have additional meetings with the strategic plan committee. And then a date to be determined. This is all when I hear back from Greg. So that we can identify the goals and the objectives for the plan. So the draft will then be shared with the board and we can kind of all review and put input in on that. So that's what we're looking ahead. That's what we're looking.
Thank you, Loretta. I just want to say, please, I want to get that mission statement done next month. So let's make the mission statement a priority. And I would love a motion, close the meeting,
So the date for the next meeting is Monday, March 11th.
March 11th. Okay, thank you.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for attending.
Erin.